Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm sitting here preparing for a reading that I'm doing in about an hour, but I thought I would pull some cards on the impeachment trial, or the trial, I guess, because he is impeached already, right? I mean, there are ways of saying it and ways of not saying it. I'm not always that good at saying it the right way. But and so as I understand it at this point, and it is, let's see, 10 to 12 on the east coast of the U.S. And so things may have changed. I'm just not aware of it. But so far, there's two senators who are asking for witnesses, and one undecided, Lisa Murkowski. So she's sort of, I think we're going to find out right then and there. And then so if that's the case, it's 50-50. And then Judge Roberts has to make a determination. And then the Senate could override him. So we'll see what happens. But I thought I would just take a quick look at the situation at hand and any, insight I can get out of it. Actually, I'm more interested in insight than I am in the outcome. So let's see what comes up, and we'll see how this all sort of precipitates out. Okay. All right. So we have the Fool card. We have the Fool card. So this states that we're on the precipice of something that has perhaps never been done before. Sort of jumping into the void with this energy. There's something, and there is. I believe that this hasn't happened before in this way. Although I did hear something about a Johnson's impeachment, that they brought in the Supreme Court person. So I think it's more that we're at a place. We're at a place now where it's time for a leap of faith. It's time for something totally new than what's been before. Let's see the crossing card here. And we have the Ace of Wands. So the challenge is the Ace of Wands is new creativity, creative enterprise, new ideas, new expression, new spiritual awakenings. And the fact that we have the Fool and then crossed by the Wand, I think that the Ace of Wands is that we're just in new territory. We are just in totally new territory right now. And the challenge is, how do you grasp the Wand of Power? How do you grasp it? And then what do you do with it once you have it? So that's the challenge. How do you sort of get a hold of things? And that thing that you're getting hold of is an inspiration. And as it's being an ace and as it's being fire, it's spiritual inspiration. Now, in the Kabbalah, all the aces sit in Kether, which is at the top of the tree. So I would say the best thing to do is meditate, is to open to spiritual forces as they come in. We're taking a leap of faith. We're moving in a new direction. And we need to be open to the promptings of spirit in order to move forward. Okay, let's see what's at the root of this. Okay, so we get the Eight of Cups reversed. I don't generally read reverse cards, so let's keep it at the Ace of Cups, and I'll keep in mind that it came up reversed. At the root of this is a sense of having put all our faith in something of the systems that were there, the systems that were there, and all the cups are shattered. And so it's kind of like this sense of our hopes are shattered, our dreams are shattered, and there's this looming mountain. There's this looming mountain above. And the looming mountain is symbolic of, and mountains generally are symbolic of a spiritual trek. In other decks, the man is turning his back on the cups. They're not shattered like this, like in this deck. He's turning his back on the cups and he's walking up the mountain. Because he's looking for spiritual, something that's going to fill him spiritually. And on some level, what we're going through now with this whole process is impetus for us to do just that, to go on a spiritual journey, to go on a journey that's going to fill your soul. Um, and no matter how long those cups had been there, and no matter how much hope that was within them, ultimately, it's about perhaps not letting other people's idea of what's fulfilling uh, be the thing that motivates us, but us looking for that fulfillment within us, looking for that fulfillment within our lives, going on the journey of the soul and finding that light that shines within each one of us. And that can be a very challenging and difficult journey. The Ace of Wands excuse me, challenging the Fool is the challenge of finding that spiritual spark. Finding that spiritual spark. Let's see what's in the past. Okay, we have this is the Nine of Swords. So this is anxiety, stress, nightmares, not sleeping. This has been, for many of us, a 3-year journey of all of those things. It's an insanity. It's just watching and saying, what is going on? This is crazy. And yet it's happened and it's happening. And so having that in the past says to me that we need to leave the anxiety behind. The Nine of Swords is the mind at its worst, really. The mind as a prison of anxiety and sleeplessness, and because the mind is what we sort of create, the thought forms, the structures that we create in our mental, um, in our head, is not necessarily the reality of situations, but it's how we talk to ourselves and explain things. And there are other things that need to be looked at. We need to look at our feelings. We need to look at the earth and the situation we find ourselves on the earth. We need to connect to spirit. We tend to um, raise the mind up to this. Well, if you're if you think about it and you're logical and this makes sense and all this other stuff, and that's only part of the picture. There are 4 elements. That's only one of them. And I think the rule of law, which is what all of this is sort of going is about, is the rule of reason and the mind. It doesn't take into consideration the feelings. It doesn't always take into consideration the financial or physicality of a situation. Um, and it doesn't take into consideration spirit necessarily. It's sort of a pure mental thing. And without the connection to the other elements, it becomes this place of craziness. And one of the things that Trump uses very well, um, and he learned this from Cohen, the guy who was in the McCarthy hearings, was how to use the legal system to create interference patterns so that he can do what he wants to do. So this is also, I think, somewhat of a judgment of the legal system and how it is. pretty messed up, and requires us to work together. I mean, for this to work, we have to have agreement on basic things. And at this point, we don't have agreement on basic things. We do not agree on what is legal and what is illegal, and what the president is allowed to do and what the president is not allowed to do. Things that are illegal should not be allowed to happen. He shouldn't be able to do this for his own, his own aggrandizement or his own ambitions. Um, but it has to be, but in order to stop it, it can't just be a legal thing. It can't just be an exercise of the mind. Let's see what's in the sky. Okay. And we have the Eight of Swords. I feel this is the Republicans feeling that any step they take could be deadly, feeling like they are stuck. But this is also a picture of a butterfly almost ready to come out of its cocoon, almost ready to come out of its cocoon. And so there's a process of transformation that's happening. Now, does that mean that there's going to be a transformation of the Republican Party? Yes, there has been, and that will continue. A transformation of America? Yes. What will that look like? What will that look like? That card does not tell us. That card tells us that we're going through a transformational process and that we're not quite ready to fly yet. Okay, let's see what's in the immediate future. Okay, we have the Ten of Swords. Again, this is a ending. This is the end of the road for something. The end of the road for something right ahead of us. So there is disaster ahead of us. There is the complete and utter end of something. Now, what is that? Is it a complete and utter end of the country? I doubt it. Is it a complete and utter end of what we've been going through with this process? Maybe. But there's definitely an ending here. Yeah, it's pretty vicious, pretty awful card. Let's see how it's seen from the outside. Okay, we have the Daughter of Pentacles. Um, this is the Page of Pentacles, and it's actually quite a lovely card. We have this beautiful little fawn, and there's this rainbow above their head, and we have the pentacle up there. So this is about starting new and sort of starting from the ground. This could be very well be the grassroots. I mean, quite frankly, the Page is the youngest, and in the Kabbalah, it's in Malkuth. All the pages are in Malkuth, which is the bottom um, the bottom Sephiroth. It's word, and the word Malkuth means kingdom, but it is at the bottom. It is at the beginning stages, and I feel like this is symbolic of the grassroots. This is going to take grassroots change, and there's already grassroots changes out there. There's already a whole sort of system that if we could hook into it, or if we choose to hook into it, we can actually create change because the connection's already there. There's a network for this kind of thing, but it has to do with more fair distribution of resources. And so those people who don't like that are going to fight against that, or they're going to try to distract us with this. And so that's something we have to be aware of. Let's see the domestic situation. The Hermit. I can appreciate this. There is a kind of a dual meaning about this, or perhaps it's the same meaning. Okay, let me just tell you what's coming to me. The Hermit goes to the top of the mountain to be alone. I want to be alone. That's what the Hermit says. And as it's alone, it looks within itself to find the light within. And then it takes the light within and it shines it for all to see. And so this process that we're going through, I feel as though it's causing the American people to go within and look deeply within themselves. Now, and deciding what's important. What is the light that they need? What is it that they need? What are their needs? What are their spiritual needs? What are their physical needs? What are their emotional needs? Um, and so this is a process of sort of going in on yourself, and yet the light shines. And so for those of us who um, have a spiritual message or have a message, and I say spiritual message, but at least for me, the messages that come out of my mouth come from my direct experience with my own life, with the challenges and how I've had to overcome challenges. And I haven't had a terrible life. I had a pretty good life. We all have challenges and we all have sensitivities, and and so it's that sort of shining the light. So domestically, we need to shine the light. We need to shine the light of our own truth. Okay. It is a flame. It's a flame in a lantern. And the challenge in this reading was the Ace of Wands, right? And so what do we do? How do we get the fire? Well, we go within. We examine our own hearts. Oops, sorry, things were flying. Examine our own hearts and we shine the light. And the light, the lantern, it's not just a candle, it's a lantern, right? And the lantern has this protective glass around it so that we can see the light, but it doesn't get blown away by the wind. And so I feel that's also a symbology for us to make sure we are protecting our own light, that we are putting the healthy boundaries around our light, and we're putting so that the flame doesn't either blow out or cause a conflagration, right? So it's about containing the light in this respect. And so we need to sort of contain and delineate and shine the light so that it can be seen, but also protected. And this is a turtle. And in I think is it Native American? Maybe not. Well, there's an alternative symbol for Cancer, the sign of Cancer. It's the crab, but it's also the turtle. And America is a turtle country. I mean, is a Cancer country. Sorry, turtle country. Well, it is. It's called what? Turtle Island, right? Um, so so this is what the domestic situation is, or perhaps what we need to do within our own domestic situations. Shine our light from our own little place in the world and see how bright things get. Okay, hopes and fears. Okay, we have the Son of Pentacles. I think most people are afraid of um, lack. Um, a lot of people already have lack, so it's not like, so a lot of people are very much on the right on the line of surviving, and the idea of having a little bit less or having more stress, it can be terrifying. But um, the Son of Pentacles, or the Knight of Pentacles, is really about planning and build and planting your garden and tending your seeds and then harvesting. It's about resourcefulness. It's about resourcefulness. And so we have the ability to be very resourceful. And so that could be a hope. Let's see the outcome. Okay, we have the Six of Cups here. And the Six of Cups is a card of family. It's a card of nostalgia. It's a card of childhood. But in this deck, we see that we have this beautiful tree, um, and it's beautiful, and it's tall, and it's mighty. But the root system below it is actually even larger than the tree itself. And this is symbolic of our connections, whether they be family connections, genetic connections, community connections. this says to me that we can, if we work together as a community. 6 is about responsibility and community. Then we can survive and thrive through this very scary, quite frankly, scary process. Okay, let's see if we can get a major arcana. Get the Four of Cups. The Son of Swords, that's the Knight of Swords. And the Wheel of Fortune. So I feel that these 3 cards, of course, the Wheel of Fortune is a change in fortune. So things are changing, and we know that. Having these 2 cards ahead, we have the Four of Cups in this deck. It's a rat over the cups. You don't want to drink out of those cups, do you? And then, of course, we have the Knight of Swords. So I feel like this is ultimately sort of the demise of the president. Is it going to happen today? Probably not. Is it going to happen next week? Probably not. But the wheel will turn and he will be gone. And we have to be ready once that happens to move forward in a new and different way. Take that leap of faith. So I hope this was helpful. It was certainly helpful for me. I feel much better. All right, guys, like and subscribe. I get ready for my reading, and I'll see you soon. I am gonna do Adam Schiff's chart. I have to do that down in the office though, because that's where I have all my astrology stuff. So that'll be later today, I think, or tomorrow. But I think later today. All right, guys. See you soon. Bye. Don't get crazy. Don't get upset. Everything in the end is gonna be fine. This is a process, and if this doesn't work, if we can't get this president out through this process, which it's not looking like we can, but I'll leave the hope out there, right? Perhaps voting him out is the best thing because we can come together as a country and make a decision, right? Okay, guys. See you soon. Bye.